Hello, my friends, and thank you for joining me for episode 90 of Learning About the Lord. Today we are going to hear about the time when Jesus leaves the clear water, where he had spent much time teaching the villagers all about the Ten Commandments. He's been hounded now and pushed by the Pharisees and the scribes to depart from the clear water and to go elsewhere where he might be less visible for a little while. So he chooses to go to Bethany, to the house of Simon Zealot. Simon Zealot, if you remember, before he became a leper, something similar to a leper, his illness, lived near Lazarus's house. He was of a wealthy family, and Simon Zealot used his money after he was healed by Jesus to liquidate a lot of his properties and help the poor. We will be reading from the Poem of the Man God, Volume 1, Maria Valtorta. When Jesus, having climbed the last hill, reaches the tableland, he sees Bethany bright in the December sunshine. In Bethany, in fact, there is not only Lazarus's beautiful house, there are also other dwellings of rich people, perhaps citizens of Jerusalem, who prefer to live here near their property, and their large, beautiful villas with well-tended gardens stand out amongst the small houses of the peasants. Jesus spots Lazarus, who is running towards him. "Oh, my friend," he calls. Jesus hastens towards Lazarus, who seems embarrassed, and kisses him on his cheek. "So, you really want to go to Simon Zealot's house?" he asks the Lord. "Yes, my friend," says Jesus. "I have all my disciples with me, and I prefer so." Lazarus accepts the decision, but does not reply. He only turns round to the little crowd following them and says, "Go, the master needs a rest." I now see how powerful Lazarus is. They all bow to his words and withdraw, while Jesus greets them kindly. "Peace to you," he says. "I will let you know when I am going to preach." "Master," says Lazarus, now that they are alone, ahead of the disciples, "Martha, my sister, is weeping bitter tears. That is why she did not come. But she will come later. I weep only in my heart, but we say it is just. If we had only known that Mary Magdalene, our sister, was coming. But she never comes for the feast days. True, when does she ever come? I say the devil has driven her here just today." So don't forget that Mary Magdalene is the sister of Lazarus and Martha, but she has fallen into grave sin and become a very famous prostitute, well known throughout the area, and a great shame for Lazarus and his sister Martha, and also a great prayer for them, because they have been asking the Lord to redeem her. "The devil," says Jesus. "And why not her angel by God's order? But you must believe me, Lazarus. Even if she were not here, I would have gone to Simon Zealot's house." "Why, my Lord?" asks Lazarus. "Had you no peace in my house?" "So much peace," says Jesus, "that after Nazareth it is the dearest place to me. But tell me, why did you say to me, 'Come away from the clear water'? Because of the approaching ambush, is it not so? Well then, I am placing myself in the land of Lazarus, but I am not putting Lazarus in the situation of being insulted in his own house. Do you think that they would respect you? To trample on me, they would tread on the holy ark. Let me do as I wish, at least for the time being, then I will come. In any case, nothing forbids me to have my meals with you, and nothing prevents you from coming to me. But make them say, 'He is in the house of one of his disciples.'" So Jesus is talking about the Pharisees and the scribes who've been laying traps for Jesus, trying to catch him in an act of sin so that they can prosecute him. And he wants to protect Lazarus from any negative association that they might attribute to him because he's hosting the Lord. "And am I not one of your disciples?" asks Lazarus. "You are my friend," says the Lord, which is more than a disciple for anybody's heart. "Let me do as I wish, Lazarus. This house is yours, but it is not your house, the beautiful rich house of Theophilus' son, and that is very important for pedantic people." "If you say so," says Lazarus. "But is it because of her, of Mary Magdalene? I had almost convinced myself to forgive her, but if she causes you to go away, upon my word, I will hate her, and you will lose me completely, says Jesus. Renounce that idea at once, or you will lose me at once. Here is Martha. Peace to you, my gentle hotel keeper. Oh, Lord, cries Martha. She is on her knees weeping. She has let down the veil which was laid on her hair, dressed in the shape of a diadem, so that strangers may not see her tears, but she does not think to conceal them from Jesus. Why these tears? Asks the Lord. Truly you are wasting them. There are so many reasons to weep, and to make something valuable with tears. But to weep for that reason? Oh, Martha, you do not seem to know any longer who I am. You know that I have only the exterior appearance of a man. My heart is divine, and it beats as a divine thing. Come on, get up and come into the house. And with regard to Mary Magdalene, leave her alone. Even if she came to laugh at me, I tell you to leave her alone. She is not herself. It is Satan who keeps hold of her, that makes her an instrument of perturbation. But here is one who is stronger than Satan. The struggle is now directly between me and him. You must pray, forgive, have patience, and believe, nothing else. They go into the little house. The staircase leads to the top of the porch, which therefore becomes a terrace and gives access to a very large room, as wide as the house. Lazarus is left alone with Jesus. Martha, who has to provide for so many people, has become the good hotel keeper again, and is working downstairs with the servants and the apostles, preparing tables and beds. Jesus lays one arm around Lazarus' shoulders and leads him out of the large room. They walk on the terrace that encircles the house. He suddenly asks, So, Doris's death was like a stick stirred in the serpent's nest. Oh, Master, says Lazarus, Nicodemus told me that never before was a meeting of the Sanhedrin so violent. What have I done to the Sanhedrin to upset it so much? Asks the Lord. Doris died a natural death, killed by his wrath, in the presence of a considerable crowd. I did not allow anyone to be lacking in respect to his dead body. So, you are right, says Lazarus, but they are out of their minds with fear. And do you know that they said they must find you committing a sin so that they may kill you? Well, says the Lord, in that case do not worry. They will have to wait until the hour of God. But Jesus, says Lazarus, do you know of whom we are talking? Do you know of what Pharisees and scribes are capable? Do you know what Annas' soul is like? Do you know who his deputy is? Do you know? What am I saying? Of course you know. So it is quite useless for me to tell you that they will invent a sin in order to be able to accuse you. They have already found it, says the Lord. I have already done more than what is necessary. I have spoken to Romans, to prostitutes. Yes, to prostitutes, Lazarus. One of them, do not look at me so frightened. One of them always comes to listen to me, and she was given hospitality in a stable of your steward, upon my request, because to be near me she was living in a pigsty. Lazarus is petrified with astonishment. He does not stir. He looks at Jesus as if he saw someone shockingly strange and amazing. I have seen mercy, he says. But I understand those of the council do not, and they say it is a sin. So it is true. I thought, oh, what have you done? And Jesus answers, my duty, my right, and my desire. I endeavored to redeem a soul that had fallen. You can therefore see that your sister will not be the first mud I will approach, and over which I will bend. Neither will she be the last. I wish to sow flowers and make them grow in mud, the flowers of bounty. Oh God, my God, says Lazarus. But Master, you are right. It is your right, your duty, and your desire. Now it is a little bit later, and the crowd has gathered to hear the Lord speak. Peace to you, says Jesus. Even if I were silent, the wind would carry to you the words of my love and of the hatred of other people. I know that you are excited because you are aware of the reason why I am here amongst you. But let it be only an excitement of joy and bliss with me, the Lord, who makes use of evil to give joy to his children. by leading under the spur of wickedness his lamb amongst the lambs to save him from the wolves. So Jesus is referring to the fact that he was practically driven out of the clear water and chose to come here to Bethany. And he says, let what was begun as evil be a blessing, because even though because of evil I was driven out of the clear water, it is a blessing because I am now here in Bethany where I can preach to you. See how good the Lord is, he says. As water flows into the sea, so a river and a stream flowed into the place where I was, a river of loving kindness, a stream of burning bitterness. The former was the love of you all, from Lazarus and Martha to the last inhabitant in the village. The latter was the unfair hatred of those who, not being able to reach the good which calls them, accuse the good of being evil. And the river said, come back to us. May our waves surround you, isolate you, and defend you. May they give you what the world denies you. The wicked stream hissed threats and wanted to kill with its poison. But what is a stream when it is compared with a river? And what when compared with a sea? Nothing. And the poison of the stream was reduced to nothing, because the river of your love overwhelmed it. And only the kindness of your love flowed into the sea of my love. Nay, it did a good turn. It brought me back to you. Let us bless the Most High Lord for it. Jesus' powerful voice rings out through the calm, silent air. Jesus, bright in the sunshine, waves and smiles from the terrace. On the ground the people listen to him blissfully, a flourish of faces raised towards him and smiling at the harmony of his voice. Lazarus is near Jesus with Simon and John. The others are scattered amongst the crowd. Also Martha goes upstairs and sits down on the floor at Jesus' feet, looking towards her house, visible beyond the orchard. The world belongs to bad people, says Jesus. Paradise belongs to good people. That is the truth and the promise. May your certain strength rest upon such promise. The world passes away, but paradise does not. If by being good you gain paradise, you will enjoy it forever. So, why get upset at what bad people do? Do you remember Job's lamentations? They are the eternal lamentations of those who are good and oppressed, because the flesh moans, but it should not moan. And the more that it is trampled on, the more it should raise the rings of its soul in the jubilation of the Lord. Do you think that those are happy who appear to be happy? Because by legal means, and even more by illegal ones, they have opulent granaries, vats full to the brim, and jars overflowing with oil? No, they taste the blood and tears of other people in all their meals, and their beds seem to be bristling with thorns, so much they feel remorse. They rob the poor and despoil orphans. They rob their neighbors to hoard goods. They oppress whoever is inferior to them in power and in wickedness. It does not matter. Never mind. Their kingdom is of this world. But what will be left at their death? Nothing, unless you wish to call a treasure the pile of sins that they will take with themselves, and with which they present themselves to God. Never mind. They are the children of darkness, rebels to the light, and they are unable to follow the bright paths of the light. My sister, Jesus, oh! Lazarus sees Mary Magdalene stealing behind a hedge of his orchard to come as close as possible. She stoops as she walks, but her fair hair shines like gold against the dark box. Martha is about to get up, but Jesus presses his hand on her head, and she is compelled to stay where she is. Jesus speaks louder. What shall we say of those unhappy people? God gave them time to do penance, but they misuse it in order to sin. But God does not lose sight of them, even if he seems to, and the moment comes when the love of God pierces their hard hearts as a thunderbolt penetrates a rock, or because the total mass of crimes carries the wave of their filth right into their throats and nostrils, and they are disgusted, and a feeling desiring good roots in their hearts. Each soul then cries, "Who will allow me to go back to former times when I was a friend of God, when God's light shone in my heart and I walked in its rays, and he who saw me said I was blessed? The world craved for my smiles, and my words were received like the words of an angel, and the hearts of my relatives leapt with pride in their chests. And what am I now? I am an object of derision to young people, of horror to elderly people, and they spit scornfully in my face." Truly, that is how in certain moments the souls of sinners speak, because there is no greater misery for man than to lose God's friendship and his kingdom forever. And they must arouse pity, only pity. They are poor souls who, out of idleness or rashness, have lost the eternal spouse, God. "On my bed at night I sought him whom my heart loves. I sought, but did not find him." In fact, in the darkness, one cannot distinguish the spouse and the soul spurred by love, being thoughtless, because enveloped by a spiritual night seeks and wants to find relief from its torture, and the soul thinks it can be found with any love. So here Jesus is talking about how the soul is made to love God, the eternal spouse, but in a spiritual darkness, needing love, it seeks out for love of a different kind. "No," says the Lord, "only one is the love of the soul, God." Those souls, spurred on by the love of God, wander seeking love. It would be sufficient for them to wish to have light, and they would have love as their consort. They wander like sick people, groping for love, and they find all the loves, all the foul things that man has so called instead of finding the love of God. But they do not find the love, because the love is not gold, pleasure, or power, but God. So God is talking about how people want love, they wander away from the purity of their soul-loving God, and instead try to find this love through physical, sensual means. And now he's really talking about the state of prostitution, sex between people as a seeking of love. But that is not the love that the soul was created for. The soul was created for the purity of the love of God. Poor souls, says Jesus. Had they been less lazy, and had they risen at the first invitation of the eternal spouse, of God, who says, "Follow me, open to me," they would not have opened the door in the outburst of their awakened love, and they would not have desecrated the holy impulse of the need of love in a mire which disgusts even unclean animals. And it is so useless and strewn with trite troubles. Neither would they have known the sneering words of the whole world, which, like God, but for opposite reasons, does not lose sight of the sinner, but waylays him to mock at him and criticize him. Poor souls, beaten, despoiled, and wounded by the whole world. Only God does not join in such pitiless, scornful stone-throwing, but God lets his tears drop to cure the wounds on his creature. Always his creature. Only God and the children of God with the Father. Let us bless the Lord. He wanted me to come back here for the sake of sinners, to say to you, forgive. Always forgive. Make every bad thing become a good thing, and every offense a grace. I do not say to you, make. I say, imitate my attitude. I love and bless my enemies, because through them I have been able to come back to you, my friends. Peace be with you all. The women in the crowd wave veils, the men wave branches, then all slowly depart after greeting Jesus. Will they have seen my shameless sister? Asks Lazarus. No, Lazarus, says the Lord. She was well concealed behind the hedge. We were able to see her because we were up here. The others could not see her. She had promised us she would not come, says Lazarus. Why was she not to come? Asks the Lord. Is she not a daughter of Abraham? I want you, my brothers, and you, my disciples, to swear that you will leave her alone. Will she laugh at me? Never mind. Will she weep? Leave her alone. Will she be staying? Leave her alone. Will she be wanting to run away? Leave her alone. The secret of the Redeemer and of Redeemers is to be patient, good, persevering, and to pray. Nothing else. Every gesture is too much in the case of certain diseases. Goodbye, my friends. I am staying here to pray. Each of you may go to his own task, and may God be with you. So we see how Jesus, knowing that the most infamous prostitute of all, Mary Magdalene, the sister of Lazarus, and Martha, teaches everyone how to behave towards her, to leave her alone so that her soul can develop. If she has to flee, let her flee. If she wants to stay, let her stay. He says every gesture is too much in the case of certain diseases. It has to allow the person to evolve properly, step by step, to the point where they can become fully redeemed. And he says the secret of the Redeemer and of Redeemers is to be patient, good, persevering, and to pray. I thank you all for joining me today. I ask the Lord to bless you. Go with God.